That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Oh,
I love that question.
Fascinating question.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna take the full 4 minutes to think about this.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I'm going to jump into this. Obviously, this series, the story takes place a few years before the original film we all know and love. But I was just wondering if your characters could meet any character from the original classic movie, which one would you most like them to meet? Be curious to see how they would interact with each other.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Oh,
I love that question.
Fascinating question.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna take the full 4 minutes to think about this.
Buddy and Rizzo would be just such an interesting pairing.
That's great. I was gonna say Susan and Danny Zuko because I feel like it would just be such like an opposite ends of the spectrum. Tension, but also like maybe magic. I don't know. Maybe they would really like each other.
Yeah. I'm gonna also make a really like random pairing and put Hazel and Kaneki. I just feel like she'd want to pick his brain and be like, "What do you really think? What do you want in life? What do you want in life? What do you really want?"
I think Olivia. I honestly think either Sandy or Rizzo. Honestly, I think there's a lot of Sandy and Jane, so it'd be nice for Olivia to kind of meet that.
Yeah.
But also just, I mean, Rizzo. There's so much for Rizzo and Olivia, so come on, they'll be best friends.
No, 100%. I feel the same way about it. I think Jane and Frenchie would totally get along.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd probably want to meet Frenchie and like have her give me a makeover or something like that. You know what I mean? Just completely do me over.
Cynthia, in the first episode, we learn that she's a mechanic and she hangs out with the T-Birds a lot. So my first instinct was like the T-Birds, but I think it's actually the teacher, the mechanic shop teacher, who's a woman, who's like the teacher of the mechanics shop. Like, it's like a huge deal. And I think that Cynthia, who's like the only girl in the class, and she probably shouldn't even be there from what is expected of the students and her gender, but I think it would be her.
I think like my character has a lot of Kaneki vibes, and I think I would be very interested to see Gil meet Kaneki and size him up a little bit and see if he approves of him joining the T-Birds.
I think that Nancy should meet Sandy because she could tuck some sense into her and she would have a lot of opinions. I will say that. You know, Nancy is all about, she gets dumped because her friends find boyfriends. So that's why she loses her friends, because she doesn't want a boyfriend. She doesn't have one, nor does she need one. And I think that Sandy could learn a lot from Nancy, and maybe Nancy could learn a thing or two from Sandy.
So this next question might be a stupid one, but it is one that I've genuinely always wondered and wanted to know the answer to. The musical numbers in this show are honestly phenomenal. Like, I was kind of amazed at both like the quality and the quantity of them. And I have always wondered, do characters in musicals know that they're singing and dancing, or is it just a reflection of how they're feeling on the inside?
Oh, wow.
I think it's a manifestation of what they're feeling.
That's a great question. I would say I don't think they know. I think we've talked a lot about that, like the musical numbers, like in musical theater, when someone can't speak, they sing, and so you're getting to see like this inner working of their psyche and what they're going through. It's almost like going into the character's mind in a really special way.
I think I feel like it varies depending on the actor. Right. Like, I kind of view it as the latter. I feel like, why do we sing? Because speaking isn't enough anymore. And why do we dance? Because all of a sudden singing isn't enough anymore. So that's the progression. And no, I just think it's an artistic expression of what we normally feel, like every human feels, you know, like, so I guess, but it is kind of meta and like, it's an interesting question.
It depends on the musical. There are certainly some musicals where the characters are self-aware, like, for example, Glee. The characters are, like, very aware that they are singing songs that they have heard before and have practiced and then are singing in front of their classmates. But for our characters, I think most of the songs, it would be that they're not super aware, that it's just the campiness of the musical grease.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for our particular situation, it's more to reflect what they're feeling internally that they can't speak about anymore.
Especially with we have a bunch of dream sequences, and those are definitely a big... Yes. This is happening in my mind, and you need to see it.
Yeah, yes, completely. It's the only way we could even conceptualize it for the audience. Sometimes it's through song and dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think one of the special things about music is that it transcends time and language barriers and can kind of allow us to connect and emote in a way that not necessarily a conversation can allow us to do.
It can move us in ways that speech cannot.
Exactly.
And speech is music. I mean, we have timbre and tilt and lilt and like we just expand on it.
I think that it can work two ways, where like they are telling, you know, the audience through song what they're trying to go through, but I think that Madison and Jason are right that like sometimes it's kind of like what they're thinking and we just get to see what's happening in their brain. So in a song like I Want More, like granted I don't think Jane is like walking on like lockers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like,
levitating in the air.
Yeah, but like she's in her head probably saying I want more than I've ever, you know, all of the things that we're hearing and seeing is what she's thinking.
It'd be a really interesting take though. To go into the song being like, I am Buddy and I know that I'm singing right now.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.